about now, Jay. C-Dub on the beat. Back against the wall, CL20's knocking rated. IGI's tripping, validated, shoot ready. Brown incarceration, got my people living daily. Gang wars back to back till the hole is where they send me.
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, this video's in continuance as a part 2 of the last video I just dropped. This one's going to be more in depth, and there's something I want to talk about following this particular filter. So let's get into it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and continue to run my streams up, or you can go to my YouTube channel's playlist, check out Renegade Music. My music will be all right there for you to stream. Thank you guys for you guys' time, but most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. Now this is an update filter. It follows the filter that I talked about in my last video, in my previous video. And it's a continuance to take responsibility by the C authorities that have been put in the brass in California, should I say, and the state faction, addressing issues with the Fed faction. And overall, they took accountability for the bad decisions that they made prior to the states and feds going at it. What do I mean by bad mistakes and bad decision making? Well, first and foremost, I think it's appropriate, and I think it should be highlighted as, you know, commendable that they finally realized what the fighting has caused and how many people suffered in the line of duty, whether they were just following orders, and in a lot of cases, some people were just deemed no good without due process rights. Now, the due process rights meaning that these individuals were supposed to be given an investigation, given an opportunity to see their day in court, given an opportunity to present their case and defend their careers. But for them to actually acknowledge and say that a lot of individuals were deemed no good because of lack of due process, that should tell you one thing, that people were just exercising their political power. People were overlooking the fact that some individuals, well, pretty much everybody for that matter, is afforded certain rights, not only as inmates, but as soldiers, as foot soldiers, as loyal, dedicated believers to the cause, to the organization, to the big O. And some people were getting rid of that right, being deprived of the essential rights in presenting a case and defending their own careers. They were being stripped of that. So imagine what that feels like, knowing that your big homies are fighting one another over political power, over territorial gain, and you're caught up in the middle. You don't know where your loyalties lies because this is a new thing that's happening. It's a new protocol. The organization has been divided up into 2 entities. It's always been a jurisdictional boundary of just California alone. Now you got California and you have the feds. Where are you supposed to choose? There has never been no protocol. Individuals were not educated on whose side to take. That there would ever be 2 sides to take. That they would have an option of who they're going to be loyal to and who they don't have to be loyal to. And in the process, so many people lost their careers and got deemed. And that's the part I'm going to break down, what it's like being put on freeze, what it's like being deemed, what it's like to be investigated by your own people. What could it do to a man's mind? To a man that's been loyal to everything, only to feel disloyal and discredited and disregarded from your loyalty. An individual could be loyal to something and still get deemed and not even realize that, bro, you're not acknowledging the fact that I was being loyal to something and everybody turned on each other and I got victimized in the process. But now they're making an effort to clear the names. So before I break it down, what it feels like, allow me to break down everybody that got put in the hat and everybody that got cleared. But you got to acknowledge and respect the fact that these individuals stood solid the whole way. They didn't give up. They understood it was a power struggle. They understood that things needed to be worked out. But still, to actually deem and condemn your people in the process for a very long time until all these egos decided to put everything to the side and say, you know what, we need to stop fighting. There's plenty of territory for us to share. That's got to be a hard bullet to swallow. It's got to be a real hard bullet to swallow. But let me start off like this. The following individuals got cleared under the Fed jurisdiction. Obviously, you got Corny de Woodland. We already heard stories about that individual. You know, the history he has made, the impact he has made on the organization and the end movement. He got cleared by the feds. Skip de San Ho, old school veterano. Pinky de Rancho Cucamonga. We've been hearing about that guy for a very long time. Pinky. Not the one from next Friday in Rancho Cucamonga. The original Pinky. Just thought I'd point that out there. Jerry de Salas. Bam de Sac. Droopy de San Fran. Loquito de Mountain View. Trigger de Salas. Casper from Visa. Powder from Salas. Those cleared in the states and state jurisdictions are Conejo de Sac. Chuco de San Jose. Puppet de San Jose. Sam de San Jose, Esteban de San Jose, and Trino de Early Mark. No Trino personally. San Jose and Capone de Greenfield. I know Capone too. Those individuals have been granted clearance finally after so long, after an uphill battle and a lot of bloodshed and a lot of territorial wars and civil wars against each other. They've been cleared to get back into the organization. Following are norteños that were deemed in the process. Fabian Huerta de Castroville, Rock from Green Valley, Yayo from Pittsburgh, Ernie Rocha, Jose Soto Jr., David Soto and Angel Soto, all from Mountain View, Drew from Salinas, and the following will be cleared by the feds. Rhino from Salinas, from Plaza, Mono de Salas from Plaza, Pistolero from Grifas, Black from Salinas from Sam Street, Rumble from Salinas, Sam Street, Lil Melo from Soledad, Polly from Soledad. Now these are the individuals that got cleared. Imagine the individuals who are still under investigation behind this civil war. Imagine the individuals who didn't like the Civil War, didn't know where to choose, and felt like whatever direction they turned, whether it was the states or the feds, they were going to be disacknowledged by another faction. And we're going to be deemed by another faction. What about the individuals that didn't know where to decide, where to go? So they end up giving up their careers because they weren't ready for that kind of civil war. They weren't ready for another deep facility dilemma. We're talking about carnales going at it with one another, which doesn't matter. State or feds still have an overall authority over your status as a norteño, as a northern soldado, as a northern chicano. It didn't matter. I'm loyal to this man and to these homies in the state, but these ones in the feds can deem me and have their soldados take me out the game. Vice versa. Both apply. But it's good that the carnales actually stood up and said, you know what, a lot of bloodsheds happen, but it's all part of our history. I get that, but sometimes, you can't forget history. There's a reason why they teach the historia to fellow norteños. So they can remember everything that they've been through and learn from the past, learn from prior mistakes, but also learn from the examples that were made and set forth in order to have what they have today. That's how it's always been taught. So this is not going to be a civil war that people are going to forget very easy. And you know what's crazy is that a lot of these individuals that got cleared, they were in the same predicament with the individuals that didn't get cleared. They were in the same predicament that the individuals who fell from grace because of this civil war. They're going to look at those individuals like they're weak. They weren't solid for that. They couldn't handle it. What's to handle? The fact that there's a civil war going on and you don't want to be, and certain individuals didn't want to be a part of, an internal bloodshed. Individuals who were loyal to the organization, who were dedicated to the cause, who didn't sign up for killing one another. That's what's going to make them weak and unimportant and devalue them as men, as soldiers, as solid individuals, because they didn't want to stand on the sidelines and watch their own people, their own leadership go at it and kill one another over money, over territorial grounds, over a state. And now, mind you, I understand that, they look at it like, the feds have jurisdiction over all these other states, and, the brass in California has jurisdiction over the state of California. But at the end of the day, bro, you're only going to have so much control over the streets, and we've already seen that, and we've already acknowledged that. You're not going to be in control of every foot soldier that has a 14 on his chest or 4 dots on his eye. You're not. A very small portion of individuals actually partake into the street regimen nowadays. And we've already seen plenty of indictments taking place against the NF RICO acts that goes to show you they only last for so long. Like, you can't continue to sit here and fight for these territorial grounds and these jurisdictions only for the sole purpose that you want to apply the manpower to work for these regiments just for you guys can make money and just get another bunch of individuals indicted on behalf of your greed, of your envy, of your leadership, of your power. It kind of sucks. But I've been in those street regiments. I've worked hand in hand with soldados. Bro, it's a passionate belief. It's a very passionate belief. Like, yeah, well, we're gonna work for the big homies. We're gonna start collecting all this money, this illegal money, turn it into legitimate money, become one big organization, take over businesses, own businesses, look out for our people. You know, build transitional homes so our people can parole to if they don't have nowhere to parole to. You know, it's a big dream, but can easily be turned into a nightmare once them feds and once the cops is the biggest rivals. The police, the law enforcement, the laws, they're the ones we got to go up against the most. And that's a hard system to beat. They let us get away with it for a little while, collect a couple of thousand, and then they shut it down. Then we go up again, let us collect a couple more thousand, shut it down. Because while we're collecting that couple of thousand and thinking we're doing things and we're purchasing all these illegal weapons and securing all these streets, they're sitting right there on the sidelines building the case. And now they convict, you know, how many was it in Red Reaper? 82 individuals. Red Soul was 50-something individuals. Just give them all indictments, all charges. Give them all 10, 20, 30 years, even life sentences. Yep, we got another group off the streets. Let's see what the next group does. Let's see how much years we can add to them. That's the deadly game that's actually being played behind the scenes. But while these state and feds are just too busy arguing about what they're going to control and who they're going to control, you got law enforcement right there like, go ahead, fight for that control. Because at the end of the day, we control all that. We allow you to do what you want to do just so we can control you even more. We allow you to gain all this power and gain all these foot soldiers. Hey, more convictions for us. We meet our quota. We get our checks. We get our government checks. And it's a hell of a lot more than that couple of thousand that you guys are collecting on the streets. That's the harsh reality of it. And that's the reality that I had to see and I got to see from the outside looking in now. Like, bro, we're just feeding into their hand. We're becoming products of the system because we keep putting our people back into the system. Now, mind you, what it's like to be put on freeze, it's one thing when you're a new arrival. The new arrival process is you get there, you got 30 days, homies check you out, do a background check, clear you. The homies don't look at you like you're a threat. But when you've already been a soldado and you've already been a full functioning individual and you do something harsh or you get put on an investigation or somebody needs to redouble check your background, you committed an act that needs to be investigated and you get put on freeze once you've been cleared, that's a whole different reality. I don't care how solid you are. I don't care if you don't think you have skeletons in your closet. When you get sit back down at that table and told to put your hands in front of you, when you've already been functioning as a norteño for years, and then you get told, hey, bro, open your mouth. Let me see your gums. Lift up your tongue. When you get treated the same way a cop would treat you by your own people and get put on disregard, when they frisk you every time you come out your cell, there's 3 individuals checking your clothes, shaking your boxers, making you squat and cough, and it's your own people, that's bad. That can crush a man's spirits. It shouldn't allow him to crush your spirits, especially if you ain't got nothing to worry about. But sometimes you make fatal mistakes on behalf of others' leadership where you're just going to be penalized and held accountable for somebody else's mistakes. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like in this case, a lot of individuals decided to be loyal to the feds and decided to be loyal to the states and got deemed no good for it. It's a messed up reality when you're sitting at that table and the 2 individuals that are sitting next to you, the security blankets, got razor blades and are told with specific instructions. Any sudden movements, start whacking them. If he looks like he's becoming an immediate threat, start whacking him. If he raises his eyebrow and you see a thing of sweat, that means he's nervous. That means he's going to react and do something. Whack him. Bro, if you smell a fart, it's probably because he's trying to drop a piece and get on you guys. Whack him. It could be that serious. So imagine what's going through the mind frame of the individual who's sitting there like, damn, I'm on an investigation either for my own mistakes or somebody else's mistakes. What am I being investigated for? And those investigations could last years. Years. At least back in my day, years. Now it might be a little bit different because the carnales are out there on the yard to conduct the investigation. So I hope the due process did get better So a lot more people could stop losing their careers and stop sending people to the SNY, because nobody wants to be on the SNY. But there's so many people on the SNY that regret it later on. Like, bro, I wish I never came on this side. This side's bad, bro. Too many people are dangerous on the SNY. People don't got to ask permission. People could just wake up the next day and just start stabbing you in the eyeballs. I'm going to go home a blind man. I'm going to go home like Stevie Wonder. That's how serious it is. So imagine being on that table like, man, dude, these dudes have specific instructions to whack me if I do anything wrong. I make any sudden movement wrong. If I decide to lie on my investigation, that's a whacking. But if I tell the truth, that's a possible whacking. When you get placed on freeze, that's what being placed on freeze feels like. And mind you, a lot of these individuals were deemed no good. So I can only imagine the predicaments they were in, going to prison, getting whacked. Just like Chente from Salinas. He's in, Santa Rita getting whacked. He's already on his third, fourth whacking. And he's trying to stay solid on behalf of the decisions and the loyalties that he had for certain leaderships. So imagine being in that cell, single cell, by yourself, knowing like, man, the next time this door opens, or the next individual approaches me, he's probably gonna whack me again, and I gotta fight through it. Nobody should put their people through that. But so many people have been put through that in the years, and no one stepped up to the plate and said, hey, bro, we made a lot of bad decisions. Let's try to rectify the situations. No, a vast majority has already been deemed no good, been placed on SNY, and can't come back. Why do you think both sides, the NF and the Mexican Mafia, have this policy? You want to come back? Pay me $10,000. That's what it's become now. Pay me $10,000. If you value your career that much, go ahead and just cash me out $10,000. You can come back. And then I'm going to use you as much as I possibly can. Let's see how solid you can stay. That's the point we've already reached now to proving our loyalties. Like, cash me out $10,000 and let's see how many missions you can go on before you finally give up again. Before I finally break you. Let's see how much drugs you can give me and keep me high. Feed my arm for a little while and then stroke my ego. Earn your loyalties like that. Earning your loyalty nowadays is a lot different from earning your loyalties like back in the day. From joining a brotherhood, earning your status, becoming gaining your citizenship as a carnal. So much has changed since then. But I'm glad that this filter they're able to acknowledge the fact that they made a lot of bad mistakes. A lot of people got hurt in the process. A lot of people were like, what's that word I'm looking for? Like, we're lingering in the middle, should I say? Just waiting for all this to be done and over with and clear so they can come back and finally function as soldados again. Because this is probably a lot of these individuals that they outline in this filter is probably all they have left. This is all they want for themselves. They ain't going home. They ain't got nothing else to go to. They ain't got nothing else to live for. Don't take this from them. Don't take this from them. I think people's pride get in the way over in their leadership positions. And sometimes you gotta let the pride go and just realize, like, bro, what you might be doing and the fighting that you're conducting and the civil wars that you're condoning is hurting your people in the end. Leadership positions are supposed to be held to lead the people, but you're not leading them in the right direction when everybody wants to have a pissing contest and wants to take over stuff and wants to be greedy and doesn't want to share. Look at the carnales from 1992. The 3 carnales that got sentenced to death row. They don't even have a regiment appointed to them, last I heard. And they requested a regiment to be appointed to them so that way they can have a little bit of money, and they were denied that. They're about to die. They sacrificed everything for the O, and they can't get a couple $100 from the streets just so they can eat properly. That's the definition of loyalty. But that's the harsh reality that people are going to continue to go through if they choose to go down that path. If they choose to value the concept of loyalty and being dedicated and being a soldado. And that's all I've been trying to shed light to the youth is like, man, you want to go that route? It's funny how everybody still to this day continues to say, well, if they want to go that route, they know what they signed up for. No one predicted a civil war between carnales and everybody getting deemed in the process and a lot of bloodshed being shed behind it. A lot of people getting whacked 5 or 6 times because they didn't know who to be loyal to. Nobody knows what they signed up for until it happens. Then they have to make an educated decision or a decision that just saves their career in the end. Nobody knows what they signed up for. It just happens. So I wanted to shed light on this filter. It was an interesting filter. I'm glad the Civil War is done because, like I've been saying before, we've been killing each other for a long time. And this civil war, this between the states and the feds, was just going to be another continuance of bloodshed amongst their own. And some of that needs to, and a lot of that needs to come to a stop. With that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.